Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall, where we throw ideas, see what sticks, and nurture those that do. I'm your host, Armando Leduc, an actor, entrepreneur, and coach, giving you insights that light up your world. We're here to explore the realms of business, marketing, and life, serving up a shot of inspiration with every episode. Ready to make ideas stick and grow them into something great? Let's dive in. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on when you are consuming this podcast. Spaghetti on the Wall, back with another one. We've got Kellam T. Parks in the house. How are you?
Good, Armando. Thanks so much for having me.
We met through JT. Love me some JT. And then we just found out we know Kevin Daisy, which is also my boy. So if you know those two guys, we know that you're a good guy. So it's awesome. Love the connection here. So let me introduce Kellam here, managing member of Parks Zeigler PLLC. It's a paperless, tech-driven law firm with offices across Virginia, North Carolina, and over 25 years of experience. Kellam focuses his practice on cybersecurity, data privacy, complex family law, and civil litigation. And then he also has The Motivated Lawyer, a coaching business that helps attorneys align their practices with their personal goals, avoid costly mistakes, and build sustainable success. So, from law firm landmines to the future of technology and legal practice, Kellam brings insights every attorney and entrepreneur needs to hear. So glad you're here. Give me a 2-minute version on how you got here and why. Like, what were the epiphanies? And you were like, yeah, this is where I need to be.
Sure, absolutely. So I thought I wanted to be a lawyer off and on my whole life. Went to small college in North Carolina. Took business. Thought I don't like business. I found philosophy. Well, unless you want to teach or panhandle, philosophy degree is not going to necessarily get you a job. So I said, all right, law. Went to law school, thought I was going to be a prosecutor, immediately figured out before I even graduated I couldn't afford to do that and pay off all my loans. Did insurance defense work, hated every bit of that. Bounced around a couple of firms throughout time. And then I never knew I was an entrepreneur, but both my dad and my mom had small businesses their whole life. And I ended up founding my firm in 2012. I had come from a 30-attorney, 100-person law firm, which was great, Virginia Beach, Virginia, where I'm located. And I just didn't want to be I didn't want to be a one owner out of 20. I would have been the 24th owner at the time, equity partner. And so I wanted to do things my own way. Started solo. Really wanted to adopt technology. So I was paperless and cloud-based in 2012, which was pretty radical back then. And then a good friend of mine, Brandon Zeigler, who I had worked with at 2 other law firms, joined in, and he and I are co-owners and managing members of Parks Zeigler. And now we've grown this thing. We've got 3 offices. As of this week, we have a new attorney that started this week, 14 lawyers, 11 practice areas. And we're really forward tech. I mean, AI is my big thing. I was just telling you earlier, I just did a law line CLE an hour before this thing. So tech, AI, and the business of law. I hope other lawyers figure it out because I like the business of law more than anything else.
That's awesome. Hold on one second. You know I'm live, right? I can hear you guys. You said there were 24 owners?
Yeah, so they had 30 attorneys, but out of 30 attorneys, there were 23 partners, and all partners were equity owners. They didn't have non-equity equity. It was all equity. And so when it came time for me to become a partner, I was like, look, the firm was great. There were a lot of great people there. I mean, honestly, if I wanted to be at a bigger firm, that'd be where I am. But I just didn't want to run my business on committee, literally.
How does that work with 23?
Well, I mean, it works well. Look, they're a great firm. So what they do, I mean, they have they have the executive committee. But if you want your idea to shine, you got to go out and get 13 people on your side to then be able to vote positively on it. And I'm like, I don't want to politic my way through my own business.
No, hell no. It's like Congress. Like what?
I don't know.
How did things like even get done?
They're very successful. I don't know how they do it. I don't know. Right. All I know is that I didn't want to figure it out.
Yeah. I hear that and it gives me anxiety. I had a business partner in my other business, and I was like, I had 2 business partners in my 2 endeavors. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm done bringing in business partners. And that was just 2 people, right?
No, I got you. I mean, I'm fortunate. Brandon and I have been friends for so long, and we agree on 98% of the issues, and the 2% we don't, we figure it out. So
Do you guys have like a third person that comes in that's like, hey, no, doesn't get
No,
that?
no, what's funny is that, so I've done all sorts of different law, and so I've done some business law, and I tell all my business clients, you're a fool if you've got a 50-50 partnership. So I've got a 50-50 partnership. But again, it's for me, what I always say is, look, I was the owner and I brought Brandon bought in. So at least at the time, I have ultimate veto ability. And then over time, again, we figure it out. We figured it out.
Hey, kudos to you, man. I love that. So you started off as an attorney. When did you start the Motivated Lawyer?
As you know, because I know you do some coaching and you've been around for a long time, I've been part of group coaching and one-on-one coaching and all these groups that I paid to be part of. And I found myself more and more interested in the business of law. I just gleaned so much from these communities, and that's what really fires me up more. I don't really enjoy litigating anymore. Luckily, most of my practice is the cybersecurity, data privacy, which is more transactional. I love running my firm, but that obviously gets, it's like herding cats sometimes. And I wanted to share what I learned. So like, look, what I've done over the last 13 years, how can I help people? How can you avoid the mistakes I've made? How can I speed things up? How can I maybe see, because they don't teach you how to do business and law usually. You're a lawyer, you don't know how to run a firm. And so I founded the company last April. I started doing some one-on-one coaching, which I still do. It's a 12-week course thing I do. And I'm getting ready to do the big launch, which is a group coaching. And so that's how I sort of came to it. It's really my passion and I love doing it. And it's a win-win. So in litigation, you get winners and losers. But for coaching, I'm imparting knowledge. They can absorb that knowledge and everybody does a better deal.
Let's talk about the attorneys that
Sure.
can't let go of being the attorney and then wanting to be the CEO. And because they're so engulfed in, trial and all of that, and then they're having to fire people constantly because nobody understands what it is that they want, because they're not clear about what they want. They don't have the time to get clear about what they want because they're just running and running and running. And then everybody starts to jet, and then they get frustrated because like, oh, nobody wants to work and nobody blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like let's talk about that and let's unpack that for a moment and get your opinion on it.
No, I mean, look, and the problem is lawyers, most lawyers, right? Hardworking, super smart people, we're grinders. And you do the law work, but you're so busy doing the law work that you don't have time to do the rest of it. Even if you were interested in owning a law firm, even if you have a law firm, you're so busy on the day-to-day, you can't make the space and the time necessary to do the work to grow the business. And I don't care how much you charge an hour or how much your flat fees are. You're just an expensive hourly worker, and that's not sustainable. And if it's just you got nothing to sell, you got nothing, there's no retirement. So that's why, so the Motivated Lawyer motivates an acronym, and I start with mindset. And it's more than just the woo-woo, let's all hold hands and get along. It's the three things that I always do, which is directly to your question. The questions I ask are, why are you practicing law? What are you doing what you're doing? Why do you own a law firm? The second question is the biggest, is, do you like practicing law? Do you like the business of law? Or do you like both? Because there is a pathway to run a firm on all three. Understanding the third, if you want to do both, is the most difficult because then you have to balance. And then the third is, what's your goal? And that's the biggest thing that if I had to start over, because when I started my firm, I didn't have a goal. My goal was do good law work, make some money, try not to be miserable. Okay, those are good goals. But do you want to be a solo? Do you want to have other owners? Do you want to hire other lawyers? Do you want to be paperless? Do you want to be remote? What kind of law do you want to do? So what I always try to start with people I talk to is, let's establish what you like doing, what you want to do, what you're good at, and what's your current goal. It can change because your goal might not be build the biggest firm, make the most money. So that's where we're oriented. We want to grow, we want to make money, we want to dominate. Okay. A lot of firms, they want a lifestyle firm. They want to be the best environmental lawyer they can be. They want to do social justice. All great, whatever your personal goal is. Then let's talk about all the other aspects to be a successful firm. And that's the frustrating part, because lawyers just get in it. They're in the trenches, which is why I was smiling, because I hear that every day. I was that guy. It took me forever to figure it out.
So how are you motivating people to get out of, the technician seat and into the CEO seat?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't, I think that's the best place to be because personally, that's what I like doing. I like the business of it. But I know lots of very successful, very smart lawyers that own law firms that their happy place, where they're most fulfilled, where they're most satisfied is in the courtroom or doing the work or making the deal. And so when I talk to those, I say, look, you don't have to be the CEO, but you have to go hire a CEO. You can't be both well. If you truly want to be in the trenches every day, again, I would advise maybe not the best, but if that's really what you want to do, then go hire a C-level executive to help you run this thing because you're never going to be able to do both well.
You're preaching to the preacher right now. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. Cause I'm like,
Sure.
I have this conversations all the time because, we either can't get in touch with the attorney because they just don't have time. Armando, I don't have time. I don't have time. I'm like, well, it's fine. Like, we can't create content for you. You can't do a podcast if you don't have time, right? Like, this is, this is meant for, CEOs that want to be the face of the business and build a personal brand and do that thing, right? Like, if you're in the day to day, and this is all of the stuff that I've heard, being in these masterminds and, same deal. It's like, if you don't have a plan to step out of the technician seat, you will always be in the technician seat,
Right.
and that, look, like you said, if that's what fills you up and that's what you love, and then you got to find that person, right? There's people out there that can, help you run your firm so that you can go and do what makes you happy and then still have the firm, right?
Yeah, and I would say there's two things. First, one of the advantages of the pandemic, right? If you're gonna, I always try to look on the bright side of things. So one of the good takeaways, at least on the shutdown, was the idea that you don't have to be in the office all the time to do things. So the a fractional C-level executives are now a thing, and there's lots and lots of really good ones out there. And so you can start with hiring fractional level C-level, C-level suite people. And then the other thing, even the people that want to be the technicians, what I tell them is, look, doesn't it make sense though to maybe, but you don't want to do every case, right? You don't want the dog cases. You don't want the BS, the difficult clients. You don't want that stuff. You just kind of want the top, right? Yeah, of course. Okay, well, great. Then how about you hire other people to do some of the other work? Why don't you become more exclusive? You're still doing the technician work, but then why don't you take more of a leadership role? And maybe your passion's marketing, maybe your passion's operations, maybe your passion's finance. You could be the C-level executive in what you really like and still be a technician, but you don't have to do the lower level stuff that probably honestly can be done better by somebody else at a lower price point. So I'm still trying to pull them out of the technician role because honestly, I think it's better for them. Just because I don't enjoy going to court anymore doesn't mean that they don't. But you shouldn't be doing that day to day for every case. It's a losing proposition. You're going to burn yourself out.
1,000%. Are you working with attorneys across the board or specific?
Across the board. Yeah, no, so really my target market is any attorney that owns a law firm, is thinking about going out and owning a law firm. And they can be brand new, and that's a lot of my clientele, or it could just be lawyers that want to level up, or maybe you want to do a particular aspect. So part of Motivate, one of the T's is technology/AI. And so I have some clients that hire me and go, look, I get the operations. I'm really good at that. I've got a marketing manager. I understand that. My mindset's good. I really want to focus on implementing better tech and AI. That's what I want you to help me with. I'm like, great. So we'll take our time and spend more on that. And that's why I have a lot of people to go, well, why didn't you just do a tech company or an AI company? Because I'm the tech guy. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Because it's not even a marketing thing. That's not the only thing you have to do to have a successful firm. And I'm passionate about helping lawyers make the best firm for them. And that could be a whole host of issues and that you have to address depending on where you are and what your deficiencies are.
Yeah. So what do you think is, and they've got a lot of problems, but what are some of the main, what are some of the main problems that you're seeing that and you had already mentioned it with the mindset, but what are you seeing is some of the major problems that you're all like, all right, this is what we need to start talking about first?
Yeah. So, I think as an overall proposition, understanding that running a law firm is a business. And I think, everybody knows I need to make money, but they don't understand there's a lot more to it than just getting clients and getting them paid. So how do you find the clients? How do you convert the clients? How do you have happy people? How are you getting the work done? How are you not working 100 hours a week? Are you paying your taxes? Are you maximizing your tax strategy? So the bottom line is understanding that law firm is a business and everything that goes into that. From there, if you're new, the most important thing, they think, oh, I've got to do a really good job as a lawyer. Of course you do. But the first thing you have to understand is marketing, because you can be the best lawyer in the world, but if nobody's calling you, you're not having any clients, you're not making any money. So you have to understand the importance of marketing. The second piece that a lot of lawyers, even if they understand marketing, fail to understand is the importance of client acquisition, sales, intake, whatever you want to call it, right? I call it intake. Because I can have 100 people call me, but if I don't have anybody answering the phone, or they don't understand how to convert them to come in and pay for the consult or get hired, I don't care how many people are hiring you. And intake is where I see most law firms drop the ball. Their paralegals answering the phone. God forbid they're answering the phone. Nobody's answering the phone, right? I don't know. Are you familiar with Jason Hennessy over at Hennessy
Oh, yeah.
Digital? Okay.
Totally.
So, they do an annual report where they basically secret shop, I think 1,500 law firms or something across the nation, and find out how long is it taking people to call you back. And it's shockingly bad. I was never called back. It took 2 days to call me back. Nobody answered the phone.
Wow.
So intake is a big one. And then, all the rest from there, it goes to operations, efficiencies, technology. And my big thing now is efficiencies in AI. Is like, look, if you're not using AI and you're not understanding AI, not only you're hurting yourself from an efficiency business standpoint, but you may be out of a job soon, because it's here and it's amazing what it can do for you. And especially if you're a transactional lawyer, you're going to have to get on board. So those are some of the big pitfalls I see, but marketing and intake certainly are the two biggest, because if you don't have clients, you're not making money.
Yeah, heard that. Tell me a story of somebody that you guys have started working with and that you helped sort of get to the next level, whether it was a mindset thing or a revenue thing.
Sure. So actually, one of my first one-on-one client, she was doing second career for her. She was a teacher, and she does some. Her husband is a commercial real estate developer, and so she wanted to start a firm in part because she wanted more. The children are now older, and she wanted freedom to be able to travel and do things rather than obviously having to clock in and clock out, which is great when you have small kids, not great when kids are in college all over the nation.
Right.
So we got together and we were talking about this, and it really went from designing the firm. It's like, well, look, I want to do special education law because that's what I was involved in, and I really have I have this part that I want to do, and I also want to do commercial real estate development work because that's my husband's business, and I can certainly help his business out, and I have sort of maybe a line of some clients. And we really worked through what does that look like, and we figured out pretty early on that most of the money is obviously going to be from the real estate part, and we really defined out what that practice looks like what's the client base, what's the avatar client, what's the marketing message. But at the same time, it's, hey, I really want to do the special education law, understanding I know there's a demand, but I don't know what kind of pricing there is, and I don't want to, and obviously I'm trying to do good here. And so she actually does some low bono work with a local organization to be able to represent children in court and be able to do these other things, and she's putting together packages to work with parents for kids going back to school, and it satisfied both, right? So it was like, hey, I'm really interested in this complicated commercial development stuff, which, oh, by the way, pays well. And I really want to do this special education law, understanding that it's not going to keep the lights on, but if I do enough of this work, I can do this other work. I'm making a difference. I'm happy on both. And that was that, again, you go back to the planning and the goals and the setting. And we were just talking about this a couple of weeks ago and she made her formal launch of her firm a couple of weeks ago. And she says, yeah, it's been really helpful because it really focused me on what I need to pay attention to. And then the second part of that, I really helped her. She's hired some marketing help to work on marketing messages and everything else, and the whole value of time. I have to believe that you're a Dan Martell buy back your time guy.
Love that.
You have it. You do. You love it. Yes? No?
%.
Yes, 100%. Yes, 100%. So I introduced her to Dan Martell, buy back your time. She made her husband read it. And you know, that's it. She absolutely has grasped the importance of, I should go hire this person to do X, which again is why you do your marketing services and your branding. It's like, look, here are all the values, and yeah, you could maybe figure it out on your own, but good luck. You know, you're going to spend so much time, and it's not going to be as good because I know what I'm doing and I've done it 100 times, and let me get you there faster.
I think a lot of people just view things as a cost instead of investment.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
And when your brain is just geared that way, it takes so much time to really unlearn. And look, I had that problem for a long time, right? Which is why I got mentored and I go to masterminds.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because it's very hard to undo a lot of that thinking, right? Because especially, and my parents are very much like, do it yourself. Why do you need somebody else to do it? You do it, right? And I'm like,
right.
Do you know how much I charge? And I'm not trying to say, hey, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn or whatever, but like I charge a lot for my time. So me doing things that frustrate me doing things that are taking away from what my zone of genius is a complete waste of time, right? And I'm adding to the business, right? Like I'm helping that person feed his family and I'm helping this person, right? So, once I started thinking about that, and getting out of my head about, elevate to, delegate to elevate. And these are investments. These are not costs. And once I started doing that, revenue came in, but then also time, right? Was now a thing. And I was like, oh, wow, I've got time to do the things that I want to do. So I think that's a big, which is why people need to be hiring somebody like you to really work on the head trash of, the mindset of like, hey, I've got to start thinking about things differently because what got me here is not going to get me there.
Yeah, look, what I always say is time is the most valuable, and I'm older, right? So I'm 51. So, as time, I always say charitably on the back half, realistically, maybe the back third, but time is the most valuable thing you've got, especially when you're a professional and we have all this, years practice law. And the only thing I'll add, I agree 100% of what you just said, and that's exactly what I try to impart. And I've been in this mindset for quite a while, so it's easy for me to say. It's hard for people to internalize, especially when you're again, most lawyers are grinders, right? Oh, I can do it. And especially if it sounds like you grew up like I grew up, which is, I've worked since I was 13 years old and I didn't come from a lot of money and it was, hey, do it yourself. And that's all very valuable. And I'm not saying that's not an important thing, but at the end of the day, the one thing I'll add to everything you said is, in addition to the value of your own time and that you're hiring other people and not the best use, I think you owe it to others to help. Like I can put my valuable time in on helping another lawyer de-stress, make more money, take care of their family more. That's a much better use of my time in a public giving sense. Now I'm charging for it. Don't get me wrong. It's not free, but it's just overall across the board, it's a better contribution to society than me mowing my own lawn. So I don't even look, and by the way, I don't mow my own. I mean, you can see how pasty I am. I clearly don't go outside and mow my lawn, but I'm allergic to grass. I don't do well anyway. We hire some guys, young kids, we pay them great. So, but yeah, look, time, that's, if nothing else, what I try to impart to people is time is the one thing that there's a finite amount of that you can't get around. And so I think you owe it to yourself and everybody else in your family to maximize the time to the greatest good.
Hell yeah. How do they find you?
Just motivatedlawyer.com. So right now it's a sign up. I have a free newsletter. So every Tuesday morning I send out a newsletter. First, third, I talk about one of the motivate principles. It's an acronym. I talk about one of these things about owning your business. Second part is the 4 AI stories from the week before. And then I end it with a practical AI tip. It may be a tip on a particular tool. It may be on a prompt engineering. I do a lot of this stuff. I'm in it. I just went to Ali K. Miller's 2-day AI First conference last week. Spent 2 full days just immersed in high-level AI stuff. So for right now, you get the free newsletter. I'm doing the big launch of my group coaching, a little more affordable than the one-on-one coaching. That should hopefully be in the next month or so. But for now, just follow me on motivatedlawyer.com and you'll know exactly what I'm doing.
Kellam, thank you so much for being here, man. Pleasure. If you guys are just attorneys or entrepreneurs as well?
Just attorneys. I'm focused on attorneys for now.
Okay, cool. So if you're an attorney looking for some guidance, coaching on how to get to the next level, hit up Kellam. Super nice guy. Love what you're doing. We'll connect offline, obviously. And I appreciate you being here, man.
Hey, thank you so much for the invite. And I knew it couldn't be a bad time if JT and Kevin say you're good. We're good.
Heck yeah. And that was Spaghetti on the Wall, brought to you by Leduc Entertainment for all of your production needs, podcasts, organic social, making videos. We got you. Keep listening, keep watching, and we'll see you next time.